You're always a good Samaritan if you help a cop. Always. Or are you?
Here's the deal.
In pursuit of a Mazda heading south on 3 Points Road.
Here's the deal.
You know, it's amazing how you can have 2 people or 100 people in a room, and there's a vast array of ideas on how things are actually playing out. And people tend to pick a side. You know, that's one of the key components of psychological operators. They try to tap into the tribal instinct, and they try to get people to be against each other when we should actually be united. And what I'm talking about here is there's this video that was put out by KTLA Channel 5 on February 4th of this year. It's called Good Samaritan Helps Officer in Trouble. They're calling this guy Good Samaritan, and they're calling the officer good. And it's amazing we can live in the same land, on the same soil, breathing the same air, and yet somebody's going to look at what we're about to look at in a completely different light than the way you look at it. And there's a lot of questions that need to be asked, and I don't have the answers to it. But we're going to go through this, and we're going to look at this in a different way than what some of the people under this video are looking at it as. They're like applauding this Good Samaritan for helping the police officer, because police officers are only there to help us. They only do good for us. They're only trying to look out for our rights and protect us, right? That's all they do. It's not like they don't pull you over because they're conducting a fishing expedition to get more stuff on you and feed the prison industrial complex. No, no, no. They have pure motives, and they're just doing what they're doing for your good. Watch this.
And La Brea police really do want to find this Good Samaritan. We're going to show you a freeze frame of him in a moment. He'll be the guy in a cowboy hat. They really want to find him. They say he really helped this police officer out. On another side of this story also shows how quickly things can change for police officers on patrol. This was just a routine traffic stop, pulling someone over who had an obstructed license plate that quickly turned into something else.
Why was he pulled over? For an obstructed license plate. So let's break this down real quick. I'll play the rest of this in a second, but let's break this down. Let's just think about this. See, that's what mainstream media doesn't want you to do. They don't want you to hit the pause button. They don't want you to mull this over in your mind. They don't want you to think about it and unshelf your critical thinking and apply some logical questions to this. They just want you to know, this guy was, can you believe his license plate was obstructed? Well, of course you should pull him over and harass him for that. Of course, there are no real crimes in the city for this officer to go after. Nobody's being raped. Nobody's being murdered. No thefts are happening. No home break-ins. No children are being abused. This guy, for God's sake, has an obstructed license plate. Don't you understand? We must pull him over. We must harass him. We must detain him. That's the way to look at it. It's like, wait. A rational person looks at this and goes, wait a second. He was pulled over for what? An obstructed license plate? What is a license? You mean to tell me that like, if you visited the world from another planet and you came down here, you're like, wait a second, this human being right here has to get permission from this human being to get something called a license, which gives him the permission to travel on the road. Why is that? Is this human being who granted the license, the permission slip, is he a greater human being than this person? Did he come down from Mount Olympus? Is he one of the gods? Is he like superhuman? What's going on here? It's like, no, they're just both human beings. Then why does this person need permission from this person to just take his property down the road on 4 wheels? Doesn't make any sense. So we got to get ourselves out of this paradigm. Mainstream media wants you to be solidified and cemented and cured in this paradigm. Can you believe an obstructed license? Of course. Pull him over, harass him. That's normal. But if you did the same thing, what if you were a citizen? You're like, oh my God. What if me and Trish were driving down the road? It's like, babe, that person's license plate is, you can't read the rest of it. It's obstructed. Let's pull him over, and we're flashing our flashlights on him, trying to get him to pull over. And then we harass the guy. He would think we were freaking crazy, but all of a sudden it's acceptable because the guy who came up to you is wearing a costume, a utility belt, a firearm, and this shiny little metal thing up on his lapel. It's crazy. It's crazy what propaganda has done to us. It really has literally made our brains mush. And people lack such critical thinking skills, partly because of the 15,000 hour indoctrination program, the government fool system. They've trained us not to critically think. If you went to public school system and you critically think, well, that's in spite of the public fool system, not because of it. Okay, listen to this. So that's painting the picture. That's laying the groundwork for why this cop, this badged clown, pulled over this guy.
316, he's running through the Home Depot lot.
This video was taken Wednesday in a Home Depot parking lot in La Habra after a Brea police officer tried...
Now you would ask, okay, what'd this guy do? Did he just rob a bank? Did he just hold a bunch of people at gunpoint? Did they find children in his basement? Did he dismember bodies and put them in the freezer? I mean, this cop's going after him, man. What did he do? He had an obstructed license plate. What? Your joke? That's hilarious, man. That is so funny. Obstructed license plate. No, seriously. What crime did the guy commit? No, I'm serious. His license plate was obstructed, and that's why he's running after him.
Tried to pull over a driver for a traffic violation. When the ex-football player cop eventually caught up to the running driver, things quickly escalated.
At this point, the officers pulled the suspect to the ground and they're wrestling. And then as they go to the ground, the officer has his gun on his right side, and you can see the suspect's trying to grab for his holster there. In fact, he grabbed so violently that he broke the bolts that hold the handgun to the
Now what we have here in progress, and guys, I don't know the whole picture, okay? I don't know if there's a warrant for this guy's arrest, and maybe he's a bad dude, and maybe he's hurt a whole bunch of people or done a bunch of property damage, and he needs to be brought to justice. I don't know, okay? But let's say he's not. Let's say it's just a traffic violation. It's an obscured license, whatever. This right here, if that's all it was, there is an assault taking place right now. The assault is taking place. There is a victim and there's a victimizer, and the victimizer just so happens to be wearing a costume. And he's victimizing this guy. Imagine a man running from a mafia member. Let's say Guido's out to get you, and the mafia crime boss sent his men out to chase you down. This would be like helping the mafia member apprehend you so that you could be brought to Al Capone. Yeah, take this guy away. Bring him to Al Capone's lair. He obviously did something wrong if he ticked Al off.
thigh rig the officer was wearing.
Brea Police Lieutenant Chris Harvey says the suspect even asked this woman who was in the car with him to help him get the officer's gun.
It may sound extreme to say the officer was fighting for his life, but you know, under the circumstances, you have to consider
the officer was fighting for his life. Who initiated the violent conflict? Who was the initiator of the force? Who was the guy who was driving down the road, minding his own business, not bothering anybody? Oh, that's right. That's the guy who is now the victim of the badged, uniformed clown. That's right. Let me ask you a question. Can crimes be committed while you're wearing a costume? Do uniforms and guns and badges grant special rights and immunities?
what is the suspect's intention in grabbing the officer's gun. I don't think the suspect was trying to steal the officer.
Let's see. Self-protection from an advancing marauder. Self-protection from a guy who I don't know who's trying to beat me up.
Officer's gun. I think he was trying to take the officer's gun to kill him or kill other people.
What was the officer doing?
That's absolutely a fight for your life.
Thankfully, the woman never intervened, but this Good Samaritan did. And now Brea police want to know who he is so they can thank him.
Imagine stopping, taking time out of your day to help a carjacker who's pissed off at the guy whose car he's jacking. And let's say you went to you went to your parking space and you saw somebody breaking into your car trying to carjack your car. And you're like, "Hey man, that's my car. get off my car. And the carjacker gets pissed off at you, grabs a tire iron and starts chasing you across the parking lot. And you're just trying to save your life. And in trying to save your life, you're trying to grab the tire iron from the carjacker. And then somebody like this guy gets involved and helps the carjacker bring you down. What if that's really... Now, again, I don't know all of the scenario. Maybe the guy on the ground is really a criminal that needs to be brought to justice. I don't know. But what if he's not? Then that's what this guy's doing. But nobody looks at both angles. Nobody asks all these questions. It's almost like they're allergic to asking questions or something. Man, if I ask that question right there, I might look like a bad guy. I might look like a criminal sympathizer. Well, aren't you worried about being a criminal sympathizer by applauding badged, uniformed aggressors who are initiating force and violence on people who may not have done anything wrong? Aren't you afraid of that? No. You know what short circuits people? They see that badge, uniform, gun and the authority of the state, and they're paralyzed. Paralysis by analysis. They analyze the situation. The guy's got a uniform on. He must be in the right. You know what? I look at it exactly wrong. If you think the guy with the uniform is in the right the majority of the time, then why does your heart rate go through the roof when you look in the rearview mirror and you see the cherries and berries on it but you're about to be pulled over? You know why? Because they're road pirates. They're road pirate enforcers, enforcing the edicts of political parasites, which takes away more of your money and suspends your rights. That's why your heart rate goes through the roof. It's like, oh man, this ain't gonna end well. It's either going to cost me money or it's going to cost me my life. Either way, I'm not getting out of... Even if they say, well, you know what? We'll let you go this time. They harassed you and they detained you and they held you up. They took minutes out of your day that you didn't want taken out. They molested your free right to travel on God's green earth.
Samaritan came over. We don't know who the guy is. He left before we could get his name. We'd really like to talk to him and recognize him for what he did. But he came and helped the officers.
Thanks for helping the criminal cartel. Mustached, cowboy hat wearing man. Thank you for helping the criminal cartel, the Thin Blue Line gang. We really appreciate you. We want to find you. And the guys go, if the guy was thinking halfway straight, it's like, I don't want to be found. I especially don't want to be found by the Blue Line gang, the Thin Blue Line gang.
Do the suspect. And without him, who knows what would have happened.
Now, while we don't know who that Good Samaritan is, we do know who the suspect is. He has been identified as Gilbert Viaba. He's expected to be in court today. But again, if you know who that Good Samaritan is, talk to him or call Brea Police. They want to find him. They want to thank him. They also say he'd be a good witness in the case. For now.
Imagine calling a guy a Good Samaritan for helping a carjacker or for helping a thief or for helping an escaping murderer. Imagine that. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. Maybe I was too harsh on the badged law enforcers. Maybe I'm completely in the wrong. But my question is, are they legitimate questions? Are these questions you can't ask? Brian, you need to be censored. Oh my God, he hates the police. You know what I hate? I hate injustice. I hate people who think they have a right to initiate unjust force and violence on people who just want to be left alone. I hate that. I hate it when somebody thinks they have a higher claim over your life and property than you. How about you? Do you hate that too? Well, good. Join the Freedom Club. I don't even know what to say about this. And I don't even know what to say about people who have the wool pulled over their eyes so tight that they absolutely will not ask questions.